Hey everybody, it's Sharon here from Content Sparks, and welcome to our training on how to teach soft skills online. Now, this is part of our launch of our new course called Digital Communication Skills. So I figured it would be good to do a little bit of training. It's a super short video on some of the elements that are important about teaching soft skills online. Most of the time, I'm going to be sharing my screen, my slides, and a couple other things, but I wanted to make sure just to give the information because I'm recording this in advance because I'm currently traveling and I'm recording this one from Florence. But by the time that you watch this and we make it live, I think I'm going to be in Porto in Portugal. So I will try my best to be in the comments and you can look out. I'll leave a few comments. You can leave questions there on Facebook. I will see them if you tag me. You can also always send an email with a question to support@contentsparks.com. I'm not making it live until we actually go live with the course. So that's it for the little introduction. I'm going to hop over to my screen now and start sharing slides and even show you a little bit of a demo of the Zoom breakout rooms feature. And I'll give you a peek at the early bird bonus that you can get if you get this course in the next few days. Let's get started right away. As I said, we're going to talk about how to teach soft skills online. Plus, I'll give you a little peek at our digital communication skills course, which is a soft skills course. Here's what we're going to cover. Firstly, why soft skills training is more important than ever today, some of the challenges of teaching it online, the keys to doing that successfully, how to adapt an in-person training to an online soft skills training, how to adapt those group activities that you can run online, but also run them as individual activities, and then some of the role of feedback. And as I said, I'll give you a little look at what you can teach in our brandable digital communication skills course. It's something you can teach and sell as your own. And what kind of early bird bonus you can get if you grab a license to that course in the next few days. So let's first talk about the importance of soft skills training. It's something that requires personal interaction, which is more challenging than ever today. A lot of people are just communicating virtually over things like email and text messages and direct messages and comments. But personal interaction is something that people still crave and need practice at because they aren't doing as much of it. So it's very challenging and it's something that can't easily be learned on your own. And it can't be taught by AI. It requires another human being to give feedback and interact with. AI doesn't have the emotional intelligence to really get those nuances and understand whether somebody is getting the message, understanding whether there's any misunderstandings, can't see the facial expressions, and understand what might be lying underneath what someone says. That requires another person. But in an online environment, it's a little bit different. There's still all those competencies you can teach: communication, like the communication skills course, teamwork, working together with other people, managing conflict, customer service, all different sorts of soft skills can still be taught in that online environment. And the difference from hard skills is that it requires that interaction. You can teach straight knowledge like how to use a software program. That type of thing is something that doesn't require the same level of interaction. That's a hard skill. But when you're talking about soft skills like communication, teamwork, conflict, doing that online, you need to be much more creative with the types of activities you run and also simulate real world interactions because any of your students, especially in a business setting, need that real world application so that they can go straight out and apply it to their situations. Now, to be effective at any type of online soft skills courses, there's a couple of key components you need to make sure you do. One is interactive content. As I said, it's interaction that you need, and you need to set up activities that have that interaction with other students. Plus, have multimedia elements that keep people engaged. So, video, live calls, people can still do some written elements and self study, mix it up a bit. And like I said before, real world applications. You can have people still apply the skills to their own situation and business, and you can still create relevant case studies and role plays. So it's good to do a mix of the two, do some case studies, do some role plays that are relevant to your students, resonate with them, whatever your audience is involved in, what their industry is. Make sure you do things that are relevant. Now, you may be used to doing in-person activities, such as in a classroom or a live workshop or seminar. It is possible to adapt those for an online format. And in an online format, you can still get that enhancement of learning through doing collaboration, giving feedback, practicing problem solving skills. Those are all possible in an online setting. People can't easily meet in person any longer, so you do need to be creative about those activities. And you can still do the same sorts of things you would do in person with breakout rooms. It's a little bit trickier. You'll need to use some technology, and I'll show you how Zoom works in a minute, but collaborative platforms like a Zoom does work for breakout rooms and having that collaboration and feedback. And you would still maintain some of the dynamics and engagement virtually that you would have in a live classroom, like doing Q&A and using polls, having discussions. So remember to use that and leverage your technology to keep it interactive. Live calls, which I'll show you how Zoom works. You may already be familiar. People have been using Zoom for a while now. Online communities like Facebook, it can be possible to do interaction there, not just with live streams, but through posting recordings and giving feedback to people, even collaboration platforms like a Google Docs. For instance, if you're teaching some of the written skills for soft skills, people can collaborate in a Google Doc live and share feedback, but match your technology with whatever your course goals are, what your learner needs are, what technology they have, and what skill you're teaching. Now, let's just go back a second to that technology. Looking at Zoom, I'm going to open one up and show you what the breakout rooms look like. So say you're over in Zoom, you will need an account. There are free accounts. I have a paid one. You get more in a paid account. And you would just host a meeting, schedule that meeting, and then when you go to run it, you'll open the Zoom Meetings app, join with your computer audio like you normally would. I would also normally have my video on, but doing this recording, it's going to be difficult to do that. And then you'll see a number of different options at the bottom. You may have to click on the More button, and you'll see an option for breakout rooms. You'll see polls as well, and some other things you might be able to do depending on your account. You'd click on breakout rooms, and the easiest thing is to assign automatically. That way you'll just divide up people and you can say how many people per room. I'm the only one in this particular meeting. I don't have a lot of options, but depending on the exercises you're doing, the activities, you may only want to have 2 people or 3 people per room to keep it short so that when you come back live, you don't have too many presentations to do. So you'd create those rooms, and then you have a number of options as well. For instance, you can automatically move all assigned participants into breakout rooms. As soon as you open those rooms, people will be moved into their rooms. Set the timing for the activity. Here, I just have it set for 10 minutes. Notify me, the host of the meeting, when the time is up, and also do a countdown before closing. So before that 10 minutes is up, you can set a countdown timer that people see so they can wrap up what they're doing. And once you have that done, you can open all rooms. And you, as a host, can join a room. So you would see a number of rooms here, depending on how many participants you have. And you can just join a room so you can see what's going on there. And you can also broadcast a message. So say you want to tell people that they only have a few minutes up. You can type that in and broadcast. You could say, remember to give each other feedback. And then you could broadcast that. You can also broadcast a voice recording as well. And then when you're all done, you can then close all rooms. And then it says all participants will return to the main session in 60 seconds. So you could broadcast a reminder of what the activity is. If you've given them a PDF to download, which you always should, that can have the instructions in it. But then you would close all rooms and everyone would come back to the main room, or you can open them up again. So then you would close that and you'll be back in your main room and you would be on camera or sharing your screen with slides. So you always have that share screen as well. So practice that, see if you can do that with a select group of people as a beta test so that you get some practice doing that as well. And that's going to be one of your easiest ways because most people are familiar with Zoom at this point. If you have a smaller group on Microsoft Teams, they have it. Google Meet has it, but Zoom is the one that I happen to be familiar with. And then you would end the meeting at the end and you'd end up with a recording of that. So that's just an example of how you can run a soft skill training, run your activities and break people out into rooms like you would do in a live classroom. Now, transforming them to individual activities is a little bit trickier. People won't get as much interaction, but you can still build that in for a soft skill. Use some technology. There are AI chats you can start doing that are evolving. It requires some training and programming of something like a GPT. So you might need somebody to do that for you. You can do some knowledge tests with interactive quizzes. Most platforms have that. One thing that is useful and that we've recommended in some of our soft skills training activities is to have people record themselves. And using video or audio, they can record that and either post it in something like an online Facebook group that's just for your course so that it's very closed and people feel safe to give each other feedback. So they could do that. Or you could add a coaching element where you give them feedback individually. That can be an upsell where you can give people one-on-one feedback. Maybe they record themselves and send it to you and you give feedback, or you do some live coaching as well. And that works well. Now, when it comes to feedback, there are two types of feedback I'm talking about here. One is just for the learning, like I mentioned in the previous slide, doing that coaching part, or people giving each other feedback. So if they're in breakout rooms, for instance, on Zoom, you have to structure the activities so that people are required to give each other feedback. You could do it in a hot seat as well. So if it's a small group on Zoom, one person could share their camera and practice some sort of communication skill, and then everyone gives some feedback. That works better with small groups, especially if you want to have people work individually. And remember, when you're pricing any of these courses, the amount of feedback you're giving, the size of the group should be in direct relation to the price. So the smaller the group, the more feedback, the higher the price. The other type of feedback is just for continuous improvement. You want to get feedback from your students on how well that course worked, which types of activities worked better than others, which did they enjoy more, which would they want to change, and that way you can keep refining your course. And those are the keys for doing the soft skills online, which more and more people are going to want to do because they can't get together in person easily. And it's very expensive to do an event that's in person. So practice doing some of these soft skills because they are so important today. They're things that no AI can teach. And it's still something people crave and they need. Now, you can use our digital communication skills course as one way to practice. It's just a small license fee and you can teach and sell it under your own name. It covers a lot of different skills. I'll show you right now what that looks like. So on the sales page for digital communication skills, you'll see exactly what's covered. I give a quick overview. There's a little bit of description and what people will go through. Let me show you the overview here. So this is the course roadmap on the sales page, where you'll talk about the foundations of digital communications. Those are things like email and live video and text messages and social media messages, all different things where you can be communicating online in different platforms. They're basics of relationship building, things like global and cross-cultural challenges, privacy and security challenges, what to do there, verbal skills, written skills, all on digital channels, organizing yourself, organizing your digital communications, and keeping things seamless, like with project management. There's a lot of communication that goes on online with that, keeping organized, picking the tools, that digital tech stack, and making sure that you have a tool set that works for any team members, any customers, anybody who's a stakeholder and you need to communicate with. Make sure you have your tools picked out. Also, how to troubleshoot some of the tech issues and create a digital communication strategy. All those things are covered in the course. I have a video on this page that walks through all the different materials, so I'm not going to do that here, but I will show you one thing in the folder of materials. The course book has all the details, and I'll open that up for you to see briefly. You'll see there's a whole table of contents. It's brandable, and it goes through activities at the end of each module. So let's pick out one, like global and cross-cultural. The action step is to complete a separate global communication case study. So that's an example. There's an action guide, and there's also a whole bunch of worksheets that people can use that you would give to your students so that they can complete all the activities. There's a main action guide, and then you'll see all these different things. And again, on that sales page is a video where I walked through all of these. I just want to show you how some of these work. So you can always adapt these to some individual ones, but it has built in some ideas for some individual activities as well. And that is the main course book. I suggest you go onto the sales page and take a look at that video so that you can see exactly what's covered in the course. And there's a description of all the different modules and what's covered in those modules, what you'll be teaching. And there's a list of all the materials as well that you'll be getting. And finally, there's an early bird bonus. And that was the other thing I promised you that I would show you, 13 ways to leverage technology and enhance business productivity. It's called Digital Communication Time Savers. Let me open that up for you. Now, this comes in a Word document and in Canva. Let me open the Word document for you. Canva is a nicely designed one that you can play with. Or if you're more familiar with just using Word, then use that and make sure you save it as a PDF before you give it to people. It's a list of 13 ways, but there's also a little question on each one that will help people apply it. So let's see, things like text messaging apps. It gives some suggestions and says what platforms could be useful to help smooth internal collaboration and reduce long email threads. That's one of the tips, is using team messaging apps for real-time discussion, project management platforms, e-signature, video conferencing, social media, all different ways to save time with your digital communications. This is great as a bonus in the course, or even as a lead magnet or a gift for your clients, your current paid clients. And that you'll only get if you get a license to the course in the first few days. I'll give you that link again in a second. You'll see on the sales page that there's a snapshot of the Canva version that's already designed with a placeholder to put a call to action. Make sure you get that in the next few days. It says April 10th is the last day to get it. I suggest you get it right away. The URL for that sales page, if you are not looking at it already, is contentsparks.com/digital communication. Hopefully that is memorable enough for you. And the early bird deal is 67% off. So normally it's $297. You will get it for only 97, and it's all done for you, ready to go. You can just customize it with your branding, any sort of little edits you want to make, and do a quick course in as little as a weekend. You can do a minimum viable one by just using the slides, action guide, and worksheet. And there's a outline cheat sheet as well that you could use to get something up and running and practice it a bit and get some feedback. Plus, there's that early bird bonus that you can get right now. So remember to go ahead and grab that and let me know if you have any questions at all. Just contact support@contentsparks.com.